Hi, I'm Carla Budarak and welcome to Behavior Communicates. Did you know that according to the Crisis Prevention Institute that 86% of the time a child becomes physically aggressive, it's because an adult sets them off? Well, today I have for you 3 verbal behaviors that you should pay attention to when talking to children. The first is to monitor your tone. If you've ever raised teenagers or taught teenagers, you know what I'm talking about when I say tone. Have you ever heard things like duh or whatever or who cares? Basically, a negative tone is verbal disrespect and could easily set off a child if they're already having a bad day. So here's your barometer with tone. If you would not use a negative tone with a valued family member, a valued coworker, or your boss, do not use it with a child. We are the role models for children, so do not teach them by your example that verbal disrespect is okay. The second thing for you to keep in check is the cadence of your voice. This is a musical term that basically refers to the marching of your voice. For example, if I said sit down, marching your voice is a verbal way of showing anger along with disrespect. Would you say this to your boss? Well, of course not. Then don't use this negative cadence with a child. The third and last thing that you need to be careful with is volume. There's only 2 reasons you should raise your volume with a child. In case of emergency, like stop, and if a child is too far away to hear you. Yelling at a child lowers their self-esteem and teaches them that when you get angry, the response is to yell rather than to problem solve. So if you're a yeller, just know that you don't have enough tools in your toolbox. That's exactly like a carpenter not having enough tools in his toolbox, like only having a hammer to fix everything. I can tell you that I now have many tools in my toolbox that I have not had to raise my voice since 2003. Yes, I was once that person who had some episodes of raising my voice with my children. Let me share a quick personal story. One of my daughters was a strong-willed child. In fact, when she was 4, she told me that she was in charge. During her high school years, she knew just what things to say or to do to trigger a confrontation with me, and one of those things was to tell me that she was moving out. Then something wonderful happened. I learned a new strategy for setting limits called the 2+2. You give a choice and a consequence, a choice and a consequence, and you give the positive one first. So, not long after that, my daughter came into my room apparently looking for a confrontation because she announced that she was moving out. I calmly said, well, you can stay here and continue to have use of the car. We'll continue to pay for your clothing, your food, your personal items, etc. Or you are 18, you could move out. The car would have to stay here, of course, because it's a family car, and you would be responsible for things like housing, food, transportation, clothing, etc. Well, I can tell you, she looked at me like I had slapped her, and she said, well, I guess I have some things to think about. And then she turned and walked out. No yelling, no fight, no negative feelings. It was awesome. I can tell you today that my daughter is a well-educated, successful young lady, and we have a close, loving relationship that I cherish. So really, I don't care if you've raised your voice in the past, like I did. I just care that you add some tools to your toolbox, like the 2+2, and refrain from yelling from today on. The poet Maya Angelou once said, "When I knew better, I did better." Now you know better and hopefully can avoid being part of that 86% statistic. Thank you so much for joining me here at Behavior Communicates, where I help you and your child or your student get the things that you both really want and what you really need. If you like this video, leave a comment below and give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all your other social media. Take care, and I'll see you next time.